I'm back in Harrogate, back at Specialized, here to meet Craig, who's been coaching me for about 10 years now, but he's here just to check some of the fit on the new bike frame, just to make sure we've got everything dialed in ready for France. Right, I'm here with Craig from Elite Edge. Craig's been coaching me for what, about 10 years now, I think?
Yeah, probably will be about 10 years. Yeah, that'll be a while.
He's the man behind the madness.
Don't tell me with your brush. This is all on you.
But yeah, he's telling me what to do from a coaching perspective. But we're here today because I'm getting the new bike, the new frame sorted, and just wanted to check some of the measurements.
You've always had my bike on it. Yeah, it's quicker to make changes.
The main thing you said before was the handlebars on the SL7.
So that's kind of around about the right height. Okay, knee over the top of the stroke, bring it right to the top. Also air stop at the top. And matching to there back a bit. We're making the crank 5% shorter. Your natural self-selected crank should be closer to 1.5.
Right.
So from a power, force by frequency, it's net the same.
Yeah.
So you don't lose, but you arguably gain because here, in this phase of the pedal stroke here, your leg's straighter, so you can generate more torque.
And it's got less strain on the knee as well.
Less strain on the knee, we're more open in the hip.
Right.
So this gives us advantage as well. Actually, if we're more open in the hip, more open in the knee, less bunched up, and generate more power, and you're lower.
Right.
Where the limitations come in though, if you're climbing a hill where you can't self-select that cadence, i.e. the terrain is dictating your pedaling speed, how long the crank's better.
Right.
Because if you're 5% shorter, you have 5% less torque. You can't correct that by pedaling faster if you're in your easiest gear and the hills dictate that cadence.
Yeah.
That reach, that is kind of race mode. Coming back 10 mil for this sort of crazy stuff,
Yeah.
you know what, it's just going to, so it's not necessarily where I'd have it for all riding. Because if you're road racing, I'd absolutely have it. But for this, actually having this in the hose,
Yeah, it just feels less straight away.
And again, when we're looking at this, it's actually all about the stability. So what we want to see is that we're not destabilising or surpassing the functional root rate, even the hips or the hamstrings, as we start to rotate you forwards onto the bike. So you're totally stable, there's no lateral instability. No, so that's really solid. Okay, so
Well, I'm back from Harrogate now, and there was actually quite a lot to digest out of that. I've had a lot of bike fits over the years. I think it's something that I would recommend anyone that's getting started with cycling, or perhaps you signed up for your first ultra, or some other long distance challenge, is take the time to check your bike and make sure it fits. I mean, it sounds so obvious, but for the kind of cost of an hour with someone that has the right equipment to do it, it's really easy to determine if there are potential issues in your position or with the equipment that you've got. So the bike that I had and then the bike that I'm getting is basically the same bike. It's just a different frame, and we have the luxury that we're building it up from scratch. So we've kind of raised the question, should we change anything? The last bike was also an off-the-shelf bike, which meant that a size 58, which is what I ride. I'm 6'2", so 58 has always been the standard. It comes with stock crank length, which is a 175, and there's a lot of trend at the moment to ride shorter cranks. Equally with the handlebars, there's a lot of trend to have narrower width handlebars. So I went into the bike fit with the open mind that maybe we should change those two elements. And actually we've changed three quite significant things. So firstly, the crank length, we've reduced from a 175 to a 165. Now it's not much, but it was significant in terms of where we were, and obviously kind of going smaller. And then on the handlebars, we've gone from a 44 to a 38 width. And that was really obvious. It felt, as soon as we narrowed the handlebar width, it felt like my arms were flaring outwards, And you can imagine that, you know, if you're sat in the saddle with your body weight on your arms for, you know, 12 hours a day, that's going to make a difference. So these little changes hopefully will improve the comfort. And lastly, we changed the stem length from a 110 to a 100. Again, it's really minimal changes, but what that's doing is by, you know, narrowing the reach forward, it's lifting me up on the bike, which, you know, obviously I've got the aero bars as well, but hopefully all these changes will improve comfort, reduce the risk of injury and you know, issues through being on the bike for such a long period of time. So we've got plenty of time. He says, you know, we're 13 weeks out now, so hoping to get the bike built in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll basically just get out and ride it. You know, I think anyone embarking on any sort of challenge like this, the key thing that everyone always says is don't make changes before you do your big ride. So, you know, it's in the back of my mind that these are significant changes, but I've got time to ride them and test them and see how they feel. And we can always revert back if something's not right. But yeah, I'll keep you posted, and we'll go from there. Bye for now.